Let that sink in for a second. It's a really precise and honestly a chilling statement. Why? Because it completely reframes the entire battlefield. See, we usually think about scams in terms of dollars and cents, right? But this reveals what they're really after. It's not your bank account, not at first. It's your brain's processing time. This is a fight for your ability to think clearly, an assault on your ability to reason, to check the facts, and to protect yourself.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive, a forensic analysis of the single most powerful weapon in the modern scammer's arsenal, the urgency engine. And look, this isn't about fancy code or some sophisticated hack. This is a weapon of pure psychological warfare. We are going to break down, piece by piece, how criminals systematically build a crisis inside your own mind, not just to influence you, but to completely seize control of your decisions.
So here's our game plan. First, we're gonna nail down the scammer's true target, and I promise it's probably not what you think. Then we'll zoom right into the biological battlefield, inside your own brain, to see exactly what they're exploiting. After that, we'll expose their three-stage playbook, this system of temporal manipulation. We'll get into the psychology of panic to really understand why this whole thing works so well. And then, the most important part, we're gonna build our defense. We'll create a mandatory pause protocol, and we'll wrap up with a simple protective mantra you can use as a permanent cognitive shield.
Okay, let's get right to the core principle here. Think of scammers as psychological burglars. They know they can't just kick down the front door to your bank account. No, first they have to disable the alarm system. And that alarm system, it's your rational mind. And they do that by controlling your time. Your money is the final prize, sure, but your attention, your limited mental bandwidth, that's the immediate target. They can't get to your wallet without first hijacking your ability to think.
This brings us to a very specific human vulnerability: temporal anxiety. This is what the weapon is designed to hit. It's that deep, primal feeling that when a clock is ticking down, our gut instinct is to act, not to analyze. You know, our brains evolved to take shortcuts under pressure, to run from a predator, not to double-check a weird email. And criminals have become absolute masters at turning this evolutionary feature against us in our modern world. So if temporal anxiety is the vulnerability, what's the weapon they use to trigger it? You might be thinking it's some kind of sophisticated software or a complex virus, but it's not. The most reliable weapon in their entire arsenal isn't technical at all. It's something much, much more fundamental, something that's already baked right into our own psychology. It's manufactured panic. This crisis isn't real. It's a carefully built illusion, a stage play of an emergency. And it's designed with one purpose: to bypass the logical, deliberate part of your brain. The goal isn't just to scare you. It's to shatter your calm so completely that making a fast, impulsive decision feels like the only way out. Okay, let's move into section 2 and look at the biology of this attack because, to build a real defense, you have to understand exactly how the attack works. And in this case, the attack isn't aimed at your computer's firewall. It's aimed squarely at the way our brains are designed. So think of your mind as having two operating modes. System 1 is your brain's autopilot. It's fast, emotional, instinctive. It's your gut reaction, your fight or flight response. Super useful for survival. Then you have System 2. That's the pilot. It's slow, logical, deliberate, and it's focused on verification. It takes conscious effort to use. A scammer's entire strategy is to create a crisis so intense and so sudden that the pilot, System 2, gets shoved right out of the cockpit, leaving the panicked, emotional autopilot, System 1, flying the plane completely on its own. So you have to understand, the scammer has a very precise checklist. First, trigger that instinctive System 1 thinking. Second, cause cognitive overload by just flooding you with jargon and confusing instructions. This creates what psychologists call attentional narrowing, tunnel vision. The whole world just shrinks down to you, the scammer, and the fake crisis. And then the masterstroke. They shift your goal. Your goal is no longer to be safe or smart. It becomes simply to make this horrible feeling of panic stop at any cost. Now, scammers create this urgency in two main flavors, but they're really just two sides of the same manipulative coin. On one side, you've got temporal scarcity. This is pure fear, the threat of losing something big right now. The police are on their way, or your assets will be frozen in 30 minutes. That targets our fear of punishment. On the other side, you've got opportunity scarcity. This hits our fear of missing out. Good old FOMO. This is a once-in-a-lifetime investment, or claim your prize now before it's gone. But look closely.
Whether it's fear or greed, the mechanism is exactly the same. A ticking clock designed to force you to act before you can think. And right here, this is the end game of all that pressure. Every threat, every promise, every complicated story is designed to do one simple thing: to stop you from taking the one action that would make the entire scam just evaporate. And that's hanging up and taking a minute to verify the claim for yourself. All right, so now we get the target, our brain's bandwidth, and we get the psychological weapons. So let's get into the forensic breakdown. We're going to deconstruct the scammer's operational playbook. We'll call it the Temporal Manipulation System. And trust me, it's not random. It is a deliberate, repeatable, and brutally effective three-stage process. This system is just ruthlessly efficient. It always follows a clear path. It starts with initiation, that's when the fake crisis is introduced. Then it moves to escalation, where the pressure is strategically cranked up and maintained. And it ends with extraction, the final irreversible transfer of your money. Let's break down each one. Stage 1 is initiation. It almost always kicks off with unsolicited contact, a call, text, or email you totally weren't expecting. And this is key. The time limit is thrown at you immediately. There's no warm-up. It is instant crisis from the very first second. And to get past your natural skepticism, they'll wrap themselves in authority, pretending to be the police, the government, your bank, or they'll use a claim of scarcity, like a prize or a limited time offer. And this right here, this is the crucial moment. The very second an urgent time limit is put on the table, your rational mind, your System 2 pilot, is immediately thrown on the defensive. The battle for control of your brain has just begun, and the scammer just fired the first and most important shot. Next up is Stage 2, escalation. See, a scammer knows panic can fade, so they have to actively keep it going and even intensify it. They do this by flooding you with jargon and really confusing instructions. This creates that cognitive overload we talked about, making you feel helpless and dependent on them for the solution. And most critically, they enforce isolation with a direct command: you must not hang up this call. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a tactic to cut you off from the outside world, from anyone who could break the spell.
And this is where the manipulation does a complete flip. Once you're panicked and isolated, the scammer magically transforms from the source of the problem into the only provider of the solution. And guess what? That solution is always a payment. They masterfully reframe the act of giving them money not as you losing, but as the one thing that can instantly end the terrifying crisis that they themselves created. It's a brilliant, cynical reversal.
And this brings us to the psychological choke point. The demand to stay on the line is then combined with instructions to use a really weird and crucially irreversible payment method, like gift cards, wire transfers, or crypto. This combination creates the point of maximum pressure, and it's designed specifically to stop a friend, a family member, or even a bank teller from stepping in and asking, "Hey, what's going on?"
Finally, we get to the endgame, Stage 3, extraction. While keeping that constant verbal pressure on, the scammer coaches you step by step through the irreversible action. They will stay on the line with you while you drive to the store, while you buy the gift cards, while you read the numbers off the back. They maintain total control until the very second your money is gone for good. There is absolutely no window for your rational mind to reboot. So, we've seen the how, the three-stage playbook. But now we need to dig into the deep psychological why. Why does this system work so consistently, even on smart, careful people? The answer has nothing to do with intelligence. It's all about our fundamental biology. The core mechanism here is a biological process called an amygdala hijack. Think of your amygdala as your brain's ancient alarm system. When it senses a major threat, and critically, it can't tell the difference between a real tiger and a scammer's fake crisis, it floods your body with stress hormones. This chemical flood literally suppresses the prefrontal cortex, the modern, advanced part of your brain that handles logic and reason. In short, the scammer isn't trying to convince you. They are flipping a biological switch that temporarily turns your rational mind off. And this biological reality leads us to the question that everybody asks from a safe distance. Why would anyone ever pay a scammer? It seems so obvious from the outside. Well, the key is understanding that the decision isn't being made from the outside. From the inside, during a full-blown amygdala hijack, the mental math is completely and dangerously different. Under that intense pressure, the brain's normal way of calculating risk gets totally warped.
The future pain of losing a few $1,000s feels almost like nothing compared to the immediate, visceral, terrifying threat of being arrested or your family being in danger. The payment stops being about money. It becomes a tool, the only tool available, to make the psychological torment stop, right now.
Okay, we have picked apart the attack, now we build the defense. And the good news is, while the attack is psychologically complex, the defense is surprisingly simple. It's powerful, and it all comes down to one core idea: seizing back control of the timeline.
The first, most important step in your defense is pattern recognition. Think of this as the universal signature, the DNA of an urgency scam. If you see these three things together, contact you didn't start, a demand for immediate action, and a push for an irreversible payment, that's not just a red flag. That is a blaring 5-alarm fire siren. This pattern is your non-negotiable early warning system.
Now, this is a really crucial and kind of counterintuitive strategy. Your first instinct might be to argue, right? To engage, to try and outsmart the scammer. You have to fight that urge. They are professionals at this. Arguing just keeps you on the phone, on their timeline and under their control. Your only winning move is to break their control over time by forcing a pause.
And this is exactly how you do it. The safe exit strategy has 3 non-negotiable steps. 1, decisive disconnection. Don't say goodbye, don't make an excuse, just hang up. End the contact. 2, the mandatory pause. This is the most critical step. For 2 full minutes, do absolutely nothing related to the problem. Walk around, get some water, just breathe. This is a biological reset button. It gives the adrenaline time to back off and lets your rational brain, your System 2 pilot, come back online. And only then do you move to step 3, out-of-band verification. This means you start a new contact with the real organization using a phone number or website you found yourself.
This table just lays out the difference perfectly. A scammer's script is built on demands. Act now, don't hang up, pay with gift cards, don't tell anyone. But reality, legitimate reality, works on the exact opposite principles. A real issue can wait for you to verify it. A real company wants you to be sure. They use normal, secure payment methods. And a real problem can and absolutely should be discussed with others. The differences aren't subtle, they're huge, but you only see them when you've given yourself the time.
Okay, so we've covered the attack, the psychology behind it, and the strategic defense. Now, let's boil all of this down into a single, powerful idea that you can carry with you forever. This is your cognitive shield.
This is it. This is the single most important principle to burn into your brain from this whole explainer. The moment the decision must be made now, it is a lie. Any real business request, any real government issue, any genuine emergency, it can all withstand a few minutes or even a few hours of verification. The inflexible demand for now is the absolute signature of a fraud. It's the tell. You need to treat that demand for absolute immediacy as definitive proof that you are being lied to. So this is the ultimate takeaway. The balance you always have to remember when the pressure is on. The scammer's world is frantic, urgent action. Your defense is the quiet, deliberate power of the pause. Give yourself the gift of time, because verification takes time. Fraud demands speed. Thanks for watching.